Hello, everybody. Welcome to the fourth? Is this the fourth? No, number 4 Hollow Knight speedrun of the day. So,
Right.
yeah.
Alright. Okay, let's get the runners counted down and then we will explain what's going on here.
Yep. Jamie, you're on that. I'll
Yep.
talk in the meantime. If you don't know, you probably do, but if you didn't know, this is the Hollow Knight All Skills Tournament for 2021. What else do I have to say? This is the second round of the Swiss bracket. And both these runners, I believe, lost their first games, but it still should be a pretty good race. Welcome to the fourth? Both is this runners, the fourth? Hopefully throw out some pretty good times. And we're going to be getting started right now, so that's pretty fun. Yeah, I'm Air Saber. I have with me Jamie, and this should be a pretty comfy comms and pretty comfy race.
Alright. So it appears that we have we've counted them down, so now we're just waiting on the stream delay to catch up.
Should I start counting down now and try to predict the stream delay?
You can try. Why not? Looks like Sylvie actually wasn't on the correct screen at the start, but that should be fine.
Yeah. I may have not been paying attention when Rhino came down and I started like 20 seconds late.
Yeah. That's a classic.
But,
that happened a lot in the rando tourney actually, which was not good to me.
Yep. MrHug1.
Controller issues from MrHug1 maybe? That was weird. Alright. They just wanted to walk into a door, have a nice fun time. Alright. So a couple
No, you go.
Oh, okay. So a couple things to note about this. These first couple of segments are pretty well run by basically everyone, as this is the same 2 splits as appear in all Hollow Knight speedrunning categories. But then, that being said, I believe both of these runners are fairly new.
Yeah. Both of them have only been playing the games for a couple months, but other than that, yeah, they've been playing the game for a couple months. I think Hug 4 to 5 and Sylvie 3. I have that written down somewhere, but we should be seeing some pretty good races out of them because they both have very similar PBs. Chat says I'm a little quiet. I'll turn my mic up a little bit. But yeah, so this is played on the cheater patch, also known as 1221, where all the cheaters come, and you'll see some inventory dropping, you'll see some lever skips and other stuff that you may not have seen in our current patch run this morning.
Yeah, so anyone who is not aware, most speedruns of this game are done on an older patch of the game, 1221. This is because Team Cherry accidentally managed to enable hitting levers through walls for one specific patch, which was beautiful, honestly. So basically, most speedruns end up on this category purely because being able to hit levers through walls, as you can probably guess, quite influential.
Oh yes, and, you're gonna see it. Yeah, you're gonna see it over and over again. It's a pretty influential thing that happens a lot in this run.
Yeah, this run actually has a very strange early game routing. It goes out of its way to get as much money as it can to buy dash slash immediately, because with dash slash you can immediately go and get Shade Soul by hitting a lever through a wall, which again you end up with a whole bunch of damage very early game, and you can basically zoom through everything.
Yep. So, if you've ever seen a Hollow Knight speedrun before, you've probably seen this first split of the game. They're going and getting, the Vengeful Spirit or the Fireball or the first spell of the game, and Sylvie hitting Statue Pogo nicely. Still, I don't even do that.
Yeah, I can't do that at all. And I've been running this game. I have like what 1,100 hours. Still can't do that trick. Impossible.
But so inconsistent.
Never seen before. All right. So I'll be coming up to False Knight. In case you've come from this just playing the game casually, you can skip this fight with a dev-intended skip to break the wall after False Knight hits the ground for the first time. And both runners will be doing that here. Because False Knight takes a lot of time to kill, and in most speedruns we don't actually even want City Crest, which is usually required to enter City in the left-hand side, but instead we can do a trick where we use a Shade Skip to get into right side City early, which you'll see them do after...
MrHug1's scaring us a little bit.
Yeah. The loud wall, let's go.
Yes.
That's a couple of quirks about this game. That isn't even a 1-2-2-1 quirk, that's just a game quirk. That some game objects just ignore audio settings, which is rather scary sometimes when you're just walking through grass and suddenly you're basically completely just is absolutely wrecked by randomly loud noises.
Unexpected ASMR for the win. Sylvie getting, I don't know, is it time from when you touch the fireball in 1-2-2-1? I haven't run 1-2-2-1 in forever.
Yes, it is the time that you hit the fireball in 1-2-2-1. So out here showing his
1-2-2-1
the rust.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So me and Jamie are both current patch runners. I'm both, but Jamie's a pretty exclusive 1-2-2 current patch runner because bad PC things. But yeah, so this run...
You didn't have to insult me like this, God. Just
No,
because I'm a bad PC.
Dude, we play on the superior patch, it's fine.
Yeah. Easy.
Yeah, so be a little ahead at VS. This time should be easily make backable by MrHug1, who is... No, actually Sylvie's the favorite, sorry. Sylvie is the favorite by about around 2 minutes. So with Sylvie with
Sylvie with a second spit, but unfortunately fireballs the boulder as it closes. That's really unfortunate actually, and that's gonna be all the time that MrHug1 needs to catch up with good boulder RNG there.
Yeah, now MrHug1 only a couple seconds behind. And Sylvie grabbing that bench. Probably smart in a race setting.
Yeah, definitely. There is no reason to need to bench there because the game automatically saves you to that bench when you pick up Vengeful Spirit. So the reason that you might want to grab it is essentially because Green Path, you basically don't want to slow down to heal at all, and there are a fair few places where you can just kind of just take damage, not even of much fault of your own, so it's always nice just to have that extra heal from the bench going in.
Yep. So now we're gonna see a little bit of a sequence break. First real glitch that we're gonna see. You can fireball this boulder from off screen, and it gives you just an instant kill on it. And MrHug1's high FPS kind of coming back to bite him with that pretty fast boulder.
Yeah. Lots of extra soul there, coming in useful there for that Vengeful Spirit skip as well. You love to see it. But unfortunately Sylvie couldn't get any soul, so was unable to even go for the single fireball version of that skip.
At this point in the game we don't have dash, obviously, because that's where we're going now. So instead, speedrunners like to use our fireball or Vengeful Spirit to get to ledges that the devs really didn't want us to. So one of the speedrunners' favorite activities is getting where devs don't want us to. Indeed.
And this works by the animation for Fireball or Vengeful Spirit. Sorry, when you cast it, it knocks you back a bit, and you'll see. Unfortunately, missing from MrHug1. Sylvie will get it first try.
It's a triple fireball.
That Squid AI is very mean. I think that might be a high FPS thing, because I've never seen it dash that quickly.
MrHug1, that was a really, really good save. I think I would have totally lost like 10-15 seconds there. That was a very, very good save out of MrHug1.
Yeah, that backup is essentially because we don't want to go around the bottom side of Green Path, because that's extremely slow. Instead... Oh yeah, that was nice. But instead, we still want to take the top route, even if we miss the fireball skip. So you can bait that squid to make it up in replacement. Okay, Mr. Hug going for the fireball skip twice, unfortunately does not quite make it.
Yep.
Looks like the turnaround was just a little bit too slow, unfortunately. Alright. And I'll still be making the way to the top side of Green Path. You may see, if you've ever watched any percent run, they kill Vengeful King for money, not to save Zote. We don't like Zote any more than everyone else hates Zote, apparently. Okay, so I'm gonna have to contradict that statement right there. But
Jamie,
but in this...
I have a knock joke for you later. It just
Oh no.
we'll come around, sweetheart. Just keep your ears ready for a knock joke. That's all I'll say for now. We'll put a pin in that. Put a pin in the Mila conversation for now.
Oh dear. All right.
But the runners are going to be Sylvie giving us a couple headbangs for content.
Yeah. That's the reason Sylvie stopped there is because we need to kill these Moss Knights and Geo Rocks for early game money. Since that is basically the fastest Geo we can get, other than Vengeful King, which just doesn't give us enough for this run. So Sylvie, on 1221 the spawns are RNG, so the right-hand knight can be too far right for you to hit it with a fireball immediately. So the reason Sylvie stopped there was just to wait for it to walk back on screen. Ooh, Mr. Hug unfortunately on 1 HP here. As Sylvie comes into Hornet 1.
Yep, Mr. Hug on 1 HP. Kinda monka-essing the chat once again. This is a very unfortunate and very not great place to die.
Ooh, and the... Ooh.
It might have been better for him to just to fireball there. I'm not sure. Ooh, Mr. Hug deciding not to
leave the Geo. Okay.
There are places to grab Geo later in the run, so it does work. If he really wants to, there's a bench right under. I'm not sure if he knows about that bench.
Benching here would be bad because you do need to still need to save and quit out later. So.
Small brain. It's just I'm so used to saving quitting out that I kind of forget sometimes that you actually have to be benched.
Yeah, exactly. But so Sylvie just after picking up Dash, quitting back out to go towards Claw, as Mr. Hug enters the Hornet fight. Right.
Now I'm curious to see where Mr. Hug is gonna pick up that extra Geo.
Yeah, because that is an extra. That is, I believe, 50 Geo or 45 Geo that he's missed there, if I'm not mistaken.
That is unfortunate. Maybe getting some from the Mantises because they dropped quite a few, or maybe he's gonna go back up after the Hornet fight.
I believe the main. There is a Geo Rock actually. I'm not sure if he will know about it. On the standard route towards Dash Slash, sort of from the upwards transition, there's a Geo Rock that is about 50 Geo that you can grab, and if you do clockwise edge, then it's actually one of the main sources of Geo you can get if you're low, but
damn random runners and their knowledge.
Yeah. Hey look, to be fair, that was not rando knowledge, that was all skills current patch knowledge, come on. Give me some credit here.
You're gonna have to show me that Geo Rock because I was low today. But so the reason why they're collecting all this Geo that we keep speaking of is they have to go and get Dash Slash that we said before to do all the lever skips. You need that extra range that Dash Slash gives you. And unlike the other Nail Masters, Oro is a scammer and likes to charge for his nail art. So we're gonna have to pay him quite a few amount of monies, 800 to be exact.
Yeah. Alright, so we're going for Epogo here. We'll get it first try, nice. Yep. That's another 1-2-2-1 semi 1-2-2-1 exclusive trick. There are versions of that trick that work on current patch, but basically we can pogo the spore once, and then the spore explodes again, and then we can pogo the explosion as well.
Gets a nice skip as well.
Yeah, a nice double dash with an extra pogo there. You really love to see that. Nice and clean execution in the early splits.
I would like to
neither of us know about.
No. Apparently, yeah. So I would have to assume Sylvie might be on PB pace here, which is good to see.
Yeah, I mean, these first couple of splits, you know, they can either obviously in a race setting, it's a little bit different. Essentially, if you were doing runs and you were like a minute behind after Claw, then you probably wouldn't continue. But obviously in a race setting, you basically just have to live with that and do the best with what you can, which both of us know about after our race today.
Yes.
No, a minute behind at Claw is just optimal performance. I don't know what you're talking about. Ooh.
Were you a minute? So this might be getting off topic. Were you a minute behind that Claw?
Yeah, like a minute 20. I missed E-Pogo, alright? Okay, this is unfortunate from MrHug here. Missed E-Pogo twice here.
He's gonna go for it again. Luckily, he didn't take damage. And there's some
Yeah.
situations where if you miss E-Pogo, you can take damage. He can. I'm not sure if he knows about the route around, but
yeah. Okay, he'll take it now. Yeah.
Yeah. He expressed to me before the race that he kind of struggles with E-Pogo, so it's very unfortunate to see.
Yeah, it's a very tight set of inputs. Even with the 1221 versions being, I want to say a little bit more lenient than the current patch, or at least the current patch non-VSync version.
Oh, 1221 E-Pogo is a lot easier than VSync, at least.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
As someone who has done both, I can easily say, but I think Pantapogo is easier than VSync, so I don't know. I don't know what I'm talking about.
Yeah. Well. Hey ho.
Yeah. So Hug recovering a little bit of the Geo from these Mantises, which is good to see.
Yeah. I'm sort of interested to see if MrHug can make a recovery here, because being this far behind very early on can be very detrimental.
Yeah. Not only to like actually losing the time, but just a mindset.
Yeah, definitely.
That
was unfortunate. That was incredibly close, actually.
Yeah.
He basically only needs to be a tiny fraction further right, and he probably would have made that.
And from Sylvie right here, they are not dying on accident. They are dying on purpose, so they can use their shade, pogo off it, and get to this next area.
What do you mean? I thought that was entirely accidental.
Sylvie getting it first try, which is better than some top runners we know. If you've seen the earlier races today, you might know what I'm talking about. But they're going to be going across Blue Lake and over to the City of Tears, which they'll go straight through after grabbing some Geo from a dank resident and be going to get Dash Slash.
Indeed.
Oh yeah, sorry for spoilers.
Unfortunate. Don't worry about it. You don't know who missed Shade Skip. Smile.
Yes. It could be me or Jamie for all we know.
Alright. Okay, so now with MrHug just making his way through again to get to also Shaman Stone. I'm not sure if we mentioned. If you have played this game casually and do not know about the glory of Shaman Stone, I'm here to add you to the cult. It is essentially the best charm in the game, especially when you, especially when you don't have nail upgrades. For comparison, the broken nail, the nail that you get at the start of the game, does 5 damage per hit, whereas Vengeful Spirit does 15 normally, and 20 with Shaman Stone, which is a massive difference. And especially in all skills, where you end up with all of the upgraded spells as well. For example, Shriek does 120 damage with Shaman Stone, which compared to, again, 5 damage nail, absolutely massive if you haven't already been using spells.
Oh yeah. And those concerned about health, I think I saw a document the other day that says in pretty much every situation it's more worth it to get a full spell's worth of damage than heal, which is pretty interesting. More or less. Pretty interesting for like a casual player.
Yeah, definitely. Healing, you know, you have the danger of you might have healed at the wrong times. You're just going to get hit immediately.
Sylvie missing quite a bit of that Geo.
Yeah. Missing 30 Geo there is actually quite detrimental. That basically means an extra row of hoppers here to make up for that. And I'm not even sure if with this Geo route. I'm not entirely familiar with the geo-routing here, but
Yeah,
that
I
might
know
not
it's
even be enough.
I know it's very tight. 709, that should be fine.
Okay, yeah. I'm grabbing a
709
little
is
bit extra
enough.
here.
Yeah. 709 is enough with both rows of hoppers.
Yeah. I believe it's 96 total, if I'm not mistaken.
Uh,
But we saw Sylvie get extra anyway, which totally understandable. You don't really want to be killing all of the rows of hoppers. Okay,
yeah,
Mr. Hug,
then,
unfortunately, having
ooh.
a little bit of trouble with Shade Skip here as well.
Yeah, that shade will teleport back if it reaches that second. Ooh,
Ooh.
that's unfortunate.
Okay. So now got to kill himself again, and this Husk is now going to be incredibly far over.
Yeah. Okay, it looks like he does know that he has to be far enough
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, that's an unfortunate. I've definitely never done that before. Died too far left, completely forgetting. Ooh.
Sylvie on 1 HP. These primal aspids are certainly a force to be reckoned with. Casuals don't make jokes about them constantly for nothing. I feel like we don't make jokes about them constantly for nothing. They're very, very capable snipers. Alright, so it'll be a little monka-assing.
Okay. Whew, okay, I was holding my breath through all of that. Okay.
Yeah, seriously.
Those hoppers can just occasionally psych you out a little bit. With all the screen shake going on and the fact that they can jump forwards and backwards.
So take a break from Sylvie currently getting scammed. MrHug made the shade skip on his second attempt and is on his way to City of Tears really, really low on Geo.
Yeah, this is...
This should be definitely interesting. He might go for a row of the a row or two extra of the, I forget what they're called, honestly.
First enemy, the Husks and Tears, that makes sense.
Yeah, the Husks, yeah.
Yeah.
I think
We'll
they
see,
get that row regularly anyways, though.
Yeah. I think it might make sense just to do the any % journal row here, actually. And yeah, Mr. I'm going to do that.
Smart. Honestly,
Yeah.
probably the smartest thing, because then he's recovering health, too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly 50. That's exactly what he was missing. Very five head out of MrHug.
Yeah. Basically the only other... And it lines up the bottom row perfectly for him as well, which can be bad RNG a lot.
So Sylvie here is going to be going and getting the upgrade for the fireball that they already have, the upgrade for the Vengeful Spirit, the Shade Soul, using a various number of cheats, or lever skips as some people like to call them, which are for some reason included in NMG.
Yeah.
Taking the bench here, perfectly respectable. It's probably pretty smart.
20 setting, I'd definitely take this bench all the time. I think I actually did in our race earlier.
I think,
though...
yeah. On this patch is different because you're going directly right and you already have a bench in city, but still.
Yeah. Yeah, it's still pretty monka-esque to be going through all of Sanctum, which can less so on this patch, but still it can basically completely screw you. Basically on a whim. In the what, two... I think it's actually only one room that this patch needs to do before Soulmaster. But even then, the RNG is just absolutely unbearable.
Yeah. It's the one room and it's the least RNG room.
Well, you say that, but unfortunately for 1221, the AI is actually different. So they actually do have a chance to just teleport directly into you with no check. Which
in current patch they just jump into you when you're dashing, just jump right in front of you or falling or whatever. But before they go to Sanctum, they're gonna be picking up the upgrade for the Vengeful Spirit known as the Shade Soul. They're gonna be doing a little bit of a dark room slash lever skip shenanigans here to get this early.
Yep. Yep, there we go. Yeah, you can skip the Soul Warrior fight there. Only on 1221, of course. Ooh, MrHug. Not quite. I think there was an extra row of hoppers he could have got there, but re-entering the room to respawn the hoppers still very fair, and actually excellent resourcefulness, I think, because
oh yeah.
because I probably would not have thought of that immediately, or at least not as quickly as he did.
Mm. Now we're going to be seeing Sanctum out of Sylvie. Another lever skip we're going to see that hopefully she'll hit first try. Again, unlike some top runners. Just the shade I am throwing out today.
Yeah. Alright. And a perfect quick kill as well. We kill that guy mainly for the money as well. A lot of speedrunning this game, you kind of... Oh, okay, we're going to see a lot of what I was talking about with the RNG nature of Sanctum. Just deciding that you are going to... Ooh, okay. Going to lose time here today. It looks like Sylvie is alright here.
Should be fine.
Okay.
Now another lever skip to skip the worst room in the game.
Yes, definitely that. There's
another
no competition about it.
Hell room by current patch runners, for good reason as well.
Yeah, it's a absolutely horrible way to lose time in a current patch run, especially. And I believe 106 also has to do that room. So it is not just we're not just complaining because we're current patch runners, wow. But it is absolutely horrible on every single category that ever goes there.
Yeah, so hopefully we're going to see them shred the Soul Master using their Shade Soul, which you're not supposed to have at this point in the game. But he had it anyways.
Yeah, definitely. This fight is basically balanced for Vengeful Spirit, because you are basically intended to go here first thing after picking up Claw, which we haven't quite done, really. got a couple of extra bits of damage here and there.
In a normal playthrough, it would be impossible to do this fight with Shade Soul because you need Descending Dark, or I guess if you farm Geo first, but to get into City of Tears, to get into Crystal Peaks, you usually need this upgrade that you're going to be getting here.
Yeah.
Or save
I mean, that's interesting that you say that, actually, but I know a fair few casual players who did just straight up farm the 1800 Geo for Lantern in... I know one in particular did that in Crossroads and ended up with a Dream Nail before Dash. Which,
that is incredible.
Well, quite a wonderful thing.
So, Sylvie finishing up her Sanctum, or their Sanctum journey, and MrHug just starting. So, MrHug has quite a little bit to time to recover, but it is completely make-upable, provided Sylvie make a couple mistakes, which hopefully we don't see.
Yeah, there are a lot of places in this run where you can be pretty, pretty screwed over, with small deaths. Like Hornet 2, especially, is one of the major roadblocks to learning this category.
Who would ever die to Hornet 2 in a race? or Sibling Climb, for that
yes,
that matter.
And also in Abyss, right near the end of the run, there's another very tense section.
You know what, I'm not liking this environment.
Both of which are, you know, perfectly respectable places to die, I'll say that, considering we do have one of them in our midst.
Yes.
But
one of them.
It's alright, I also had to practice Hornet 2 a lot, and I did end up on 1 HP during my fight, alright? We'll,
So, Sylvie's gonna be making this stretch from getting Descending Dark to now going for Sea Heart, their second horizontal movement, and it's going to be letting them do a lot of skips. And if you've heard pretty much any race in this tournament, you know this is a very, very bad place to die, because you can lose a lot of time, and it's a pretty long segment where you don't want to take damage or don't want to bench or anything. So they're going to bench here, and hopefully
oh my lord, this Sanctum. This Sanctum is absolutely horrible. Again, when we talked about, there's only one room that's RNG on this patch, and even still,
both runners,
it's absolutely horrendous. You saw that Spell Twister? Soul Twister. Just teleport into Hug repeatedly there. That is one of the worst feelings when running this category.
For sure. And they only have one of this room in this patch.
Yeah, exactly. Alright. So Hug, understandably healing before Soulmaster. You know, damage, having a lot of soul is nice, but having that extra safety of knowing you can get hit a couple times and still be fine is absolutely worth it. For a lot of runners, me included. Alright.
So Sylvie's going to be taking the Stag here. They got the 300 geo required and are going to be going back to Dirtmouth, where they're going to be going all the way through Crystal Peaks to get Sea Heart. It's a lot of interesting segments. There's a lot of interesting rooms in Sea Heart, and MrHug getting that nice double to finish off the fight, or not finish off the fight. Yeah. I was completely surprised by the second phase in my casual playthrough.
Yeah, definitely. It's very, especially if you don't know how to deal with it, it's really not easy. Of course, eventually, you know, we can say we hope. Yeah, MrHug getting some extra hits here as well. You can hit him while he's diving for a little bit of extra damage and soul collection before he goes into this phase, which is where most of your damage will be, and we'll see. Nice and fast kill from MrHug there. So Sylvie heading into the longest and most terrifying segment of all skills, because for a solid, what, I think it's 8 minutes? You don't get a bench.
6 to 8, yeah.
6 to 8, something around there. You are basically, you know, you don't want to heal, obviously, because that loses a lot of time, and even then, you need to keep soul for the later parts of the segment. And you don't have any benches, you don't have basically any time to rest.
And you don't get that much soul to heal either. There are not a lot of opportunities to get soul. Maybe like one hit here or there. You can get one hit on this guy, one hit on that guy, but there are not there's a lot of enemies in this split that are very dangerous to stand near. The miners can easily do a ton of damage if you're near them for too long. So let's see
definitely.
what goes for Pogax.
And there's a lot of situations where you actually don't want to farm soul purely because you want to go through the room on the fastest cycle. Because if you don't reach that cycle, in a lot of cases, the room just becomes absolute hell to navigate through, and you'll probably just get hit again. Yeah, which is just not worth it.
This room as well. This is the, I'd say, one of the more tight cycle rooms getting through here.
Oh, absolutely. There's a reason that that the optimal cycle for this room is called God Cycle. It's because you need to have absolutely perfect movement the whole way through in order to make it. Sylvie going for the Lamp Pogo there, the damageless variant. Unfortunately, just a little bit too low on the dash. Alright. Just got a little bit of whiplash there at Sylvie not picking up Shopkeeper's Key.
They do not need Shopkeeper's Key. Shopkeeper.
On this category, on this patch, that is not necessary.
Because of their
Got to make sure. Alright. So Sylvie now going over to get Crystal Heart. Let's see how the Crystal Heart room goes. There's a nice fast cycle here. We'll see if Sylvie opts to go for it at all, or the damageless or damage variant. But there are several ways to go through this room as quickly as possible, pretty much.
Yeah, the damageless cycle is a lot harder. Oh, it looks like...
Oh, just barely. Went a tiny bit too fast. But at least... Ooh! Okay, at least fast cycle, but taking 2 hits in this cycle, really not fortunate because we're still not out of the woods yet. Because we still need to go to... we still need to go down to D-Dark, and then down to Dreamnail again.
On another note, Underplat? Woo?
Woo, yes, Underplat indeed. A much easier trick than it appears, but can still cause some pretty major slip-ups. I've absolutely never, not once, died to Underplat. And definitely not recently on PvP, so that didn't happen. My
favorite quote is, if you know Underplat's free, it's free. But if you don't know it's free, it's not free. Meaning
exactly.
The hitbox for the spikes on the bottom are a lot smaller than they look. So you actually have a ton of space below the below the platform to dash, but you might not know that if you're just new to speedrunning, or me a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Sylvie saving the grub. No surprise.
Sylvie almost. Yeah, I was scared that Sylvie was going to go past the grub, and I was going to be sad for a second. Okay, and here comes the dark room. This is There are several ways to get through this dark room without lantern. Some of them are faster than others. The optimal strat basically just holds right and dash the entire time, and spams dash the entire time.
That was one of the safer strats.
Yeah, it's pretty much, you know, it's runner to runner pretty much on whether you want to, how much time you want to invest before you start running this category into learning that strat.
So, MrHug coming up on Milo Room, I have a knock-knock joke that was given to me virtuously by Slorent. Knock knock.
Oh god, who's there?
Kill.
Kill who?
Kill Mila.
Oh, okay, Excellent. 10 out of 10. I love Slorent's jokes so much, but I also hate Mila killers, so this is unfortunate.
Yeah, I am on the firm stance that Mila needs to be killed for her various crimes against humanity.
Well, she just wanted to mine some crystals, dude, like
illegally?
Yeah,
did she have a permit for that?
This is a free country. Halonest is a free realm.
I think if you have ever played the game, I think we know pretty well that Halonest is anything but a free realm.
You know, it's all governments collapsed. I mean, I'd say that's closer to free than you could possibly have, really.
That's true.
You know,
so
can't have the government restrictions on your freedoms when there is no government to do anything.
MrHug not opting to do the fastest cycle there, instead doing a little bit of a slower cycle, but still perfectly fine. And Sylvie on 1 health, as dangerous as this may look, it is impossible to die from here to the next quit out, so they are absolutely fine.
Yeah.
And
yeah, a nice little feature. Ooh, hug.
MrHug
okay.
Fine. This is not a great place to be on 1 HP. I, for one, have been on 1 HP, tried to farm that husk, and walked into it many times.
Yeah, I was more scared of when MrHug went around the corner. He was just fractions of a second away from getting hit by a laser coming around the corner. Those laser hitboxes can just be, some of them can completely phase through walls because, well made. Oh, Sylvie. You see those slashes of frustration at missing the second best trick in the game, Underplat 2. Only, of course, outshined by Underplat 1. And,
that is certainly frustrating to fall out of Dream Sequence, especially. I feel like Sylvie shouldn't take it too hard, but you never know.
Yeah. Okay. MrHug going for unfortunate. Just a little bit too slow for the damageless fast cycle here, and we'll be just basically winging his way through. That was very close to getting hit by that laser, but we'll take it.
No underplat for MrHug, unfortunate. You really do hate to see it.
Actually, if you're doing overplat for the purpose of farming soul off that soul totem afterwards, I actually think that's very respectable, because it is slower to farm soul from that totem after doing underplat than, respectively, from overplat. So I'm just gonna say that's genius improv from MrHug, and not wanting to do underplat.
Sylvie's gonna be going through this dark room again, up to fight the Watcher Knights. If you know them from any percent or casual playthrough, you might be scared, but they have a couple spells up their sleeve. This fight is. There's some discussion today if that fight was completely free or not, but it's definitely easier than any percent, and definitely easier than it might be without knowing the power of D-Dark, which gives you invincibility frames.
Yeah. So while Sylvie shreds through the Watch Knights here, I think it's helpful to give a couple of stats. D-Dark, as a spell, is incredibly powerful for 2 reasons. One, it does 88 damage with Shaman Stone, which, again, Nell 0 does 5, so massive, massive difference there. And also, it makes you invincible, and especially on this patch as well, you can actually just stand inside a boss and continuously spam the quick cast button, and you won't get hit at all. which is very nice in this fight because you can basically kill them with 3 D-Darks and a couple of nail hits, more or less. As you can see, Sylvie just double parry there. And damage tanking to kill the last one, there we go. Essentially, the main danger there is you trying to go too quickly, and damage tanking too much, and then ending up on 1 HP. Which, is something very frequently that can happen, but, it does, you know, with some practice and some knowledge of where you should and shouldn't go for damage tanks, hopefully not too difficult.
Optimally, you end up at 1 or 2 HP there. Like, even like with perfect strats, like that's like you want to take damage tanks.
Yeah, it basically entirely depends on RNG as well. Whether you even want to go for damage tanks.
This is Hollow Knight. Everything depends on RNG.
Yeah, exactly. Your inputs, your dash. Well, let's be fair. Dash length isn't RNG, all right? It's frame rate dependent. Okay, basically. So it's completely fair.
That's so much better.
I mean, hey, just cap your FPS and boom, it's no longer RNG. Smile.
True.
Alright, so Sylvie collecting the first dreamer here. This basically moves on into the sort of boss... I want to say kind of a boss rushy section. Where we sort of end up going, you know, we now want to go get the other 2 dreamers, which are relatively close together, actually. As well as we also will need to kill Hornet 2 in order to reach the Abyss for the final 2 abilities, Shade Cloak and Abyss Shriek.
Yep. Yeah, before the boss rush, quote-unquote boss rush here, we're going to be seeing some skips from Sylvie to get to Isma's tier, which are honestly very difficult, especially for newer runners. Like, these skips are definitely some places where you can lose a ton of time if you miss them a couple times or die to them or anything else.
We actually saw a couple of times earlier in the tournament where, you know, much stronger runners who have been running for a lot longer than both of these, ended up dying to Isma's skips, which, you know, it happens to everyone. They're, to a lot of people, they're quite unintuitive as well, which sort of becomes part of the difficulty.
Yes, absolutely. Oh, that's unfortunate.
Trying to hyper-optimize there and going into the top of those spikes is something that a lot of runners can definitely feel in their hearts right now.
Yeah, so what you want to do on this skip is you want to pogo as soon as you're going to hit the spikes.
Yeah. So we're going up for health here. I actually think...
I think it's optimal to die.
Yeah, I honestly think that it would probably just be faster to go for it for the last try, unless you know you're not...
That has to be a angering death. Now, MrHug has a window to make up a little bit of time here.
Yeah.
If you could have a fast Watcher Knight fight, this may be close to even again.
Yeah. I mean, fortunately, the hard save from Lurian isn't massively far. You do still have to get some annoying elevators that you've moved into your way, back out of your way again. But, it's one of the nicer respawn points.
Yeah.
Because you basically only lose, like, what, a minute or so?
Yeah, that sounds about right, yeah.
Running back.
Maybe less. Maybe, like, closer to 45 seconds.
Yeah.
Would be my guess.
And it's for that reason that, even if you're going for safety strats... Getting lost in that darkroom there. Something I unfortunately cannot relate to, being a current patch runner who cannot do that lever skip. But, you know, I won't be too salty about that. I'll just play some randomizer and get my fix that way.
Seriously.
Right, MrHug going into Watch Nights, yeah.
Yeah, you want to be diving as much as you can. Hopefully they line up nice for you, and even if they don't, D-Dark, dive. D-Dark, D-Dark, D-Dark is the rule of this fight. Sylvie hitting the first skip pretty nicely. Yeah. Did she have 4 health, 5 health? 5 health.
Yeah.
Which is nice.
Yeah, this is a set of 3 pretty difficult skips in a row. First, you saw that spike tunnel. We'll also see this acid step. Oh!
Yeah, she didn't. I think they wanted to
fireball, but did not have any soul. Yeah. That's very unfortunate. That Whomp just can get massively in your way and damage you out.
Alright, so there's
And,
two ways to do this trick right here, this third acid skip. There's setup lists, and there's the setup which Sylvie just did. Sylvie just did the setup version, first try. I do the setup, I think it's easier, but there's a lot of people who don't really like the setup because it can be a little inconsistent and prefer to do a little bit of movement tech and not set up for it at all.
Yeah.
MrHug coming out of Watcher Knights with 1 HP, we see that damage tanking is a common theme here.
Yeah, exactly. I didn't really want to comment on it too much because I am aware of the effect that commentators can have on race results, even if the runners are not watching, of course. We will often end up just cursing them through. You know, this is an alright fight. Not really worried here. Oh no. That kind of unfortunate commenting that happened a lot during Rando Tournament, I seem to remember.
I think Sylvie actually had that, but doubted the RNG and decided to be safe and stop the C-dash anyways, which is respectable.
Yeah. Yeah, essentially there's a chance that you can C-dash through that entire room uninterrupted, but a lot of the time the husk can get in your way. So we prefer to instead there is a backup C-dash that I don't think Sylvie knows, or at least did not go for, that you can do in case of bad RNG. But even then, bad RNG can still become worse and hit you out of it a lot more. Alright.
So we're gonna see we're gonna see MrHug coming up on these skips that we just saw Sylvie do, and Sylvie's gonna be starting off the quote unquote boss rush with Lost Kin, Broken Vessel.
Broken Vessel.
Lost Kin is the harder version.
Yeah, Lost Kin's the easier version. What are you talking about?
The dream version,
Yeah, a little in-joke among a lot of speedrunners, especially ones who run the true ending and 100% categories, is that thanks to so much practice being put into Lost Kin, a lot of runners end up a lot more used to the timing of Lost Kin's attacks compared to Broken Vessel, who is obviously the slower, less dangerous variant. But because of that, it becomes a lot harder just to go through and not just damage tank a whole bunch to essentially expecting him to be faster than he is. Okay. MrHug getting the spike tunnel on the second try. We'd love to see it. That is actually one thing I think is easier on current patch. So I have even more respect for that because those hitboxes are even harder to get through. Alright. Second acid skip, first acid skip, done well, and looks like the setup version here. Ooh, unfortunate.
Looked a little high.
There we go. Yeah. I think that was just you have to do a neutral jump there, which is essentially just jumping without holding into or away from the wall, which considering you immediately want to press right after jumping, you know, it's a complex set of inputs. And I know I certainly messed that up a fair few times occasionally. Alright.
Sylvie unfortunately breaking right after the tantrum attack. So what we want to see here as speedrunners is we want to see the tantrum where they shake their head, where Broken Vessel shakes their head and doing it twice. Shakes their head and a bunch of infection spews out because you can just spam D-Dark and get a ton of DPS. But hitting out of that is definitely unfortunate.
Yeah. Essentially the two main sources of damage now are right up until the end of the run. Our main two sources of damage are either D-Dark or you want to double hit with Shade Soul. So a double hit is where you cast a Shade Soul and the knockback actually causes the enemy to get knocked back into the Shade Soul hitbox in time to hit it to hit the enemy twice.
Yep, and that does 80 damage, whereas the D-Dark complete D-Dark does 88.
Yeah.
So around the same, about a nail's hit or two different.
Yeah. D-Dark at least being easier to use in that regard, because at least if you hit the first hitbox of D-Dark does 50 damage, and the other two do the remainder of the 38. So it's certainly a lot easier to use than trying to get those double hits, which you have to be at a certain distance away and gauge, you know, the knockback and whether they're going to iframe the fireball for any length of time.
Yeah, for chat, Hug's PB is a 104.46, and Sylvie's PB is a 102.57. Both very respectable times.
I actually think both of these runners have had PBs since the leaderboard runs, but
yeah, I DM them and asked for their
Oh, okay.
their current
Okay.
PBs. Yeah.
Thank you. Sorry, I am misinformed. Not quite as high IQ as Erto over here. Actually, preparing for commentary. What?
There's no such thing. I really only ask questions for the ones before the commentary, so I know who likes to kill Mila and who doesn't, so I know who to curse accordingly.
Oh, I see. I see how it is.
And if chat's wondering, Hug is a firm no Mila killer, and Sylvie refused to comment on behalf of,
Okay.
I think, afraid of curses. So I will be cursing Mr. Hug for the rest of the race. Yeah.
And I will be offering my counter blessings, though Erto will be trying to stop me as much as possible.
Yep. And
Alright, so Sylvie here. Oh.
You take it away.
Go
Take it
ahead.
away.
Oh, okay. So Sylvie here going to Hornet 2, the probably the hardest fight in all skills. We basically recommend this category as a beginner category for the fact that it doesn't have any % Watcher Knights, because any % Watcher Knights are an experience for anyone who starts out playing this game. But unfortunately, the trade-off of us recommending this category as a starter category is you then have to kill Hornet 2, who is certainly not easy. Essentially, you know, I consider her actually slightly harder than any % Watcher Knights, though that may just be due to more practice.
Yeah, I think it was easier for me to actually. I probably can't comment on this. It probably would be bad taste of me to comment on this, but maybe it's just because I did any % first, but Hornet 2 seems a little easier than any % Watchers when I first started.
Okay.
But of course, there's still the odd death here or there, some in tournament settings. I will let you know that before the race, I did the fight 5 times, and I never ended up on 1 HP.
Ah, okay. Well, I see, that's where you went wrong. You didn't do it 20 times.
Oh, that's true.
Yeah.
Oh,
Sylvie with
Sylvie.
this first stream now. I like that strat.
I like it too. There's a chance that she walks forward or does the ball thing and you take damage, but if she does the parry, which she has a 50% chance of doing, you're stunks. Ooh.
Okay, that's very unfortunate. A very quick death at least. And so we did get the safety bench here, which is very good for retrying this quickly.
Mm-hmm.
But you never like to see deaths to Hornet 2, because every one of them is, you know, chips away another, what, 30 seconds to reset, plus however much time you've spent in the fight?
Yeah, seriously. Yeah, Mr. Hug definitely has a little bit more of an opening right now. I don't think the gap's completely been closed, or there still seems to be a minute or two difference, but the gap
we also have a fair amount of desync, unfortunately. Even with the load normalizer, we will end up with some desync between the runners over time, just due to how many rooms the runners have been through, and also just general stream delay just happens over time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I was accounting that.
Yeah. And something I find interesting, actually, you know, I want to avoid commenting on the Hornet fight at all in afraid of cursing, but both runners actually have the exact same amount of Geo right now, which I just find very mildly amusing.
That is... I feel like that happens more often than not. Like, I've seen that quite a lot this tournament, and maybe that's just because the Geo route in this run is fairly consistent. There are some pretty good spaces that everyone just gets the Geo from. But even with some inconsistencies on Mr. Hug on where you got Geo, it's still the same.
Yeah, especially with the early Geo deviancy and then having to farm back up again. I'm just surprised that they end up so similar.
Yep, and Sylvie getting through that that fight. I saw from chat that Sylvie is a Mila killer, so I am very happy about that.
Oh god, okay.
More great news for the Mila killing community.
I'm going to stay very, very quiet in commentary now. So about that Hornet 2, so Mr. Hug coming in here, I absolutely believe in this.
Yes.
All right, let's see if we can have a good fight here.
Yeah, Hug will certainly be making up quite a little bit of a time if he can manage a good Hornet 2 right here.
Yeah.
So the name of Hornet 2 is D-Darks in the corners and double fireballs. That's what you want. That's what you want to be happy if you see. So if she does that throwing attack or she does some of the shuriken attacks, you can D-Dark her in the corner, get the full 88 hits of damage, 88 points of damage, and it's pretty nice. Except for when she parries your D-Dark in the corner and you die. That's not
exactly. That's
ideal.
a crying moment. MrHug actually doing a strat that I've seen only a couple of other runners do, where every time she staggers, he appears to be going for a Dream Nail to gather more soul, which I'm not entirely sure. Yeah, it's a very good, you know, if you're not comfortable with farming soul off her and immediately into a dive, then that's entirely fair, I believe. Oh, and making me very scared there at the end. Afraid to comment, but making it through Hornet 2 with 1 HP. Alright.
Very well.
And I wasn't actually paying much attention. Did Sylvie invalidate their run at the classic invalidation point of early control? Or?
I would assume not. I wasn't paying attention either.
I would hope not. Fortunately, in the tournament, we only have a time penalty.
Yeah. There are two places. There's two ways you can get KP people arrive after a Hornet 2 fight. This is the good one. So the runners are going to be going through where they started the game and all the way to get the Cyclone Slash, and they're not going to get scammed this time because the dash the dash master, the nail master here, is not a scammer and a business. Bug. Business bug.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Masso is second best boy out of the Nail Masters, or is just a massive meanie.
Yeah, seriously.
Oh, Sylvia, just waiting to contemplate that C-dash there. I know that C-dash is something that you try and sort of micro-optimize. Like, you try and release it, you know, on the very frame that it's ready, all the time whenever you're speedrunning. And there is the unfortunate side effect that sometimes you just end up releasing it too early and then you have to charge it all up again. Sometimes you do that repeatedly 5 times at Shio. I would not know about that at all, but, you know, we won't talk about any of that.
now, Jamie, I have the real 5-head play for you. All right, listen to me. So if you're on the frame corner of any surface, if you start to C-dash, you C-dash like the first frame after it charges. So the real 5-head play is to C-dash on a corner, so you instantly release it.
There we go. Yes. Now that's
big brain knowledge.
Yeah.
Big brain
yeah, because the game doesn't technically count you as grounded when it checks for the end of this. Well, yeah, when you start, it thinks you're on the ground. When it checks if you're still on the ground later, it just doesn't. It's an incredible piece of I want to say Team Cherry Spaghetti, but I'm not entirely sure if that's appropriate. Well, hey. We always joke about a little bit of light-hearted, you know, because a lot of the tricks that we use are due to, you know, small oversights here and there, especially on this patch where you know, levers hittable through walls and all that kind of fun stuff that we really like to use, but realistically, should probably not be in the game from a casual standpoint.
Yes.
All right. And MrHug speaking to second best boy as well. He just wants to teach everyone Cyclone. He wants to feel appreciated, you know?
Yep, and Sylvie's gonna be coming here. The best boss, Kappa, and Umu, the RNG god. And we're gonna be seeing, hopefully, do you think a 1 cycle is possible out of Sylvie?
It certainly depends. The 1 cycle here is incredibly tight. I'd honestly say it's tighter than the any percent 2 cycle on 1221. But obviously I don't have much experience with that one, being a current patch runner. But it's certainly not easy, and we'll see if Sylvie can eke it out here. So, is this the any percent setup? I'm actually not entirely certain. Okay, no, this is the old school setup.
Yeah, this is the
Alright.
old school. Yep. So what they're going to be trying to be doing is, ooh,
Oh, that's the least fortunate thing you can possibly see. Even when walls aren't eating your fireballs because you have Shade Soul, they're still going to make you fire them the wrong way, and that is very unfortunate, because I think that actually might have... We'll see here now. Okay, no. There was one double missed as well, but it could have been could maybe, in an alternate universe, have been a one cycle with without that wall cling.
yeah.
But still a very clean fight.
Yeah, very. Unfortunate, yeah. They just wall clinged right before they shot the fireball, and that made the fireball go the other way. Which is...
So we're forgetting that you do need to talk to Quirrell first before you can Dream Nail Molliman. Getting too eager there. Unfortunate.
I think that's evidence. I think Sylvie's on a pretty good pace for them.
Yeah, this is I certainly, this is pretty good from both runners. I think. Even...
Obviously, we don't really know because we're not 1-2-2 run runners, but it looks good.
Yeah. Even with I think an extra death for both of them, with MrHug needing to die again for the Shade Skip and Sylvie dying to Hornet too. This is a pretty good pace from both of them, I'd say.
That's 2 deaths for Sylvie. Sylvie died to Hornet too. And on the way to Isma's.
Oh, so they did. Yep, okay. Look, my memory is not the best nowadays. We won't worry about that. Okay, I've not seen this setup for Umu from MrHug, but we'll see how it works out.
True ending setup?
I'm not entirely
Oh no, this
sure.
is just whatever, any percent variant. Oh, this looks like
this is the best one cycle setup, the current patch one cycle setup.
Yes. Do you still do that weird one?
Yeah, I still do the one that's basically just the any percent current patch setup, but you pray for a double, essentially, is what my setup is. But there is a more consistent version. Unfortunately, MrHug did not quite get the one cycle there, but
I'll let you know that you still are praying for doubles in that, and that's still not 100% consistent.
Yeah, definitely. But you do have to pray. Every single fireball does need to double with the all Shade Soul setup. Yep.
That is unfortunate.
All right. So MrHug just coming up here with Monoman. We'll see how close they are. Presumably, I think somebody in chat's been timing them between them.
Yep, and and Sylvie's gonna be going to get Great Slash. There's some cool movement here. I really like the movement in this split. There's some pretty cool things. The last room is annoying pretty much all the time, but otherwise the movement's really cool here.
Yeah, definitely. This is, to many runners, their absolutely favorite split in you know, I know for some runners, I know Rhino said that this is basically his entire split, his favorite split in the entire game, more or less.
Yeah,
because
this is definitely
all the really tidy movement that you can do.
And
one of the more
coming
movement
up,
heavy.
Or we might see another underplat? Question mark.
Unfortunately, that underplat was timed to be slightly slower, but Sylvie will still go for it.
Jamie, if we don't tell them it's slower, they'll never know.
To be fair, I also thought that underplat was faster until I sat in one of Rhino's streams where he timed it out and just went, yeah, unfortunately this is not faster.
I think I still do it.
Yeah. Sylvie doing the current patch strat here, actually. You are technically on 1-2-1, you are supposed to C-dash off the wall, but that timing, you know, if you're slightly too late, it's very tight, and also slightly unintuitive in my... as well as on current patch, it's literally impossible to reach that cycle.
Actually, I did some ILs the other day. It's actually possible to reach the cycle if you're fast.
No way.
Yeah,
no
way. It's so tight. It is so tight, but you can do it.
I will never do that.
The problem is
insane option.
Oh jeez, MrHug taking a little bit of damage here, which is It shouldn't be too bad. There's not a lot of places you can take damage. The problem with the final room there is if you're C dash too high on the spikes, or if you're latched up too high on the spikes, you could actually take damage, even if you're on the side of the spikes, which is pretty unintuitive and annoying.
Yeah,
So
definitely. I
there's
think
that.
those are. I actually think those are changed on current patch compared to 1.2.2.1. I remember seeing some discussion about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, where they're actually slightly further over right on 1.2.2.1 for whatever reason.
Mm.
Nobody knows.
Yep, and
Right.
Sylvie's going to be coming up here into Queen's Garden.
Mm.
They can actually go this way, which is slightly faster because of another lever skip that you'll see in around a minute or two. But they're going to be going to get the Howling Wraiths. Yeah, Howling Wraiths.
Yep.
Which is the first, the first of the last
Yeah.
spells.
Yeah.
The
It's actually kind of
non-upgraded
funny
version
to
of
me.
the first. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of funny to me how in all skills we get both of 2 shade spells before we even start to pick up our up spell. And
Which is
we don't even start doing that until this is the final stretch where basically everything now is just we're going down to Deep Nest and then going to Abyss. That's basically what this routing is.
Yep.
Right. So we're getting a little bit of okay. That was actually not a
It's not very
pretty
bad.
good, pretty good arena right there. That arena, I know, can be one of the most infuriating arenas because if you miss one of the squirts and they dash away from you, you have to run to the other side of the room, and you're just crying because you've just lost like 10 seconds because you have to run after it.
Yeah, luckily the squits decided to cooperate and charge at Sylvie instead of just dodging.
That's unfortunate. Just barely missing that dash slash input. Just a little bit too early.
Yep, and we're going to be seeing MrHug right around 1 split behind plus load times. I had a feeling that C dash was a little bit too low.
Yeah.
Should be
Was
no
that
big
a
deal.
C dash glitch from Hug? That's unfortunate.
What was that?
I've actually so C dash is supposed to kill any enemy who has less than 10 HP when you run into them and not damage you. But there is a fun little thing in this game that we like to call C dash glitch, where you can just run into an enemy that's supposed to die to C dash and it just doesn't die, and then you take damage and you start crying, which is one of the worst feelings, certainly.
Yeah,
and
definitely. It's actually a 1 in 50 chance, I believe. I think I've seen that
damn.
somewhere, which is
Right.
I feel like I get it more than that, but
and also
very unfortunate to get.
If anyone wondering as well, that jumping into thorns that Sylvie did just now was not an accident. That's actually an intentional hazard warp will do in order to skip a little section of the of Queen's Gardens where we have to go around to hit the lever, but we can just exploit some hazard respawn hitboxes and go through the floor. Unfortunately, something not doable in current patch, but
Yep,
you win some and you lose some,
Hugs was a little Monka-esque moment, but makes it through pretty cleanly. Finishes that out, not dying, which is always nice. And Sylvie is going to be going into something that we call Dark Nest or Dark Deep Nest. A pretty tough area of the game. Except for Sylvie, looks like they know it pretty well. Might be cursing here, but there's pretty consistent set of inputs that you can do to get through this area of the game. Sorry, Jamie.
Yeah, these dark rooms are the worst part of them. Is certainly the fact that there are no hazard respawn. All the hazard respawn checkpoints are sort of they're unloaded. So no matter what, if you take damage, if you hit a spike in the room, you're going back to the start of the room. And with whatever enemies you with whatever enemies you have aggroed now conveniently in your way.
Exactly.
But while I was saying that, Sylvie just making absolutely excellent work out of that.
Yeah, very clean dark rooms. No hazard respawns, which is very, very nice.
least Sylvie is also a bit of a rando runner as well, which makes sense why he would be so good with these dark rooms, because you do quite frequently want to do them in randomizer as well.
Yep, MrHug getting the hazard respawn, no problem.
Mm.
And yeah, I assume that from Sylvie, from the first dark room, that they how fast they took it. I
Yeah,
assume
definitely.
that a little bit of rando knowledge is always nice.
Yeah. Hell, even some any percent knowledge can help, because theoretically, if you have practiced any percent enough, you can basically close your eyes and do that room on muscle memory alone.
Yeah, the name of my split for the Hera segment is any percent muscle memory take me. So it's definitely that is definitely a reason why I am able to do that.
Yeah. Now, of course, you don't actually want to close your eyes, because this game being this game, your inputs are ever so slightly RNG / FPS dependent / just not consistent. So you do need a tiny bit of reaction to that. But
Yep.
okay.
Yeah,
So
the
Hug,
fact that you never know when an input's going to be dropped makes for great fuel for excuses as well. Oh, my input got dropped. Oh. So
look,
Sylvie's
can
gonna
you
be
not call me out like this? God.
Sylvie's gonna be taking a long way around, which is the optimal route if you have no soul. If you have 1 or 1/3 of soul, if you have 1 fireball, it's optimal to dream now. It's actually not optimal to go around. There's a cool dash slash that you could do there to get soul, but otherwise it's
Mhm.
better than going directly left and not dash slashing.
Yeah.
So MrHug's making his way through the dark rooms.
Ooh,
2
unfortunate.
HP.
Yeah, getting hit here kind of sucks. Okay, I'm not going to gather extra soul here, which is... I would certainly gather soul here, because you want to kill this, the last devout before Hera. We basically just don't want to deal with any potential of dying to that devout, because that's one of the most painful deaths, after going through all of Dark Deep Nest.
Yeah. Maybe we'll see some dream nails on the devout under. That's what I would go for here if I didn't have any soul.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really nice way. And also this safety bench here is very respectable. I probably would at 2 HP here, with no soul, but
especially in a race setting, yep. And Sylvie is going to be going down to Abyss. There are a lot of enemies in Abyss that are very, very dangerous. The most dangerous being called the Siblings, which do 2 massive damage and can kill any number of runners. Some in this channel, and being me.
Yes, indeed. Don't worry, I've also died to Lighthouse Climb quite recently on PB pace, which is always a painful moment. Sylvie doing the me classic and forgetting to cancel the C-dash there into those tendrils.
I was about to say that's the me classic, so
it's the all of us classic.
A little bit of a relatable moment right there. Yeah,
right.
this climb is especially hard because these guys' positions are pretty RNG, and there's a lot of them, and they come at you from all directions, and you never know where to go, and there's so many, and you're completely out of movement, and does it very cleanly.
Yeah. Doesn't even get to showcase the fact that that does do 2 damage. Those siblings. So with 4 HP, that's only 2 slip-ups. You're only I guess only 1 slip-up you're allowed before you are at 1-hit territory.
Yep. And MrHug making his way. So they are no longer in need of any geo at this point. They have the geo that they needed to get. They don't have to spend any more. And MrHug is going to be going down to the Abyss, and Sylvie's going to be grabbing a couple upgrades and be getting their ass. Sorry, their butt out.
Yeah. Over to THK, which if you are accustomed to the current patch fight, if you've played this game casually, you may be wondering, why is he so slow? And that is because earlier on in the game, in this game's history, THK was actually a lot less of a boss. So they decided to buff him in the Lifeblood update, I believe, or it might have been actually the God Master DLC, where they decided just to randomly, double his attack speed and all of that. but somehow actually it is almost faster theoretically for the current patch version, simply because he attacks faster, you can stay closer to him for longer, just by virtue of, you know, he's always attacking towards you, so you can always stay on top of him.
Yep. So this final upgrade.
Yeah, you are gonna get hit though.
This final upgrade is the most DPS you can get. The Abyss Shriek. It does 120 damage, which is, if you can do math correctly, more than the rest.
Yes, that's I believe. Wait, hang on. Now
40?
you got me doubting myself.
40 more. Up, MrHug1 getting hit by a sibling there. Now you don't actually just have to take our word for that. It does 2 damage, and Sylvie getting hit again there. C-dashing a little too high. Ooh, ending up on 1 HP is scary because they're gonna have. Sylvie's going to be making a climb soon, which is popular in ILs.
Yeah. This is actually a fairly recent introduction to the HK modded board, purely because it's easier to reset with debug mod. But this is one of the more popular ILs among all skills runners, purely because right at the end of the run, there's this really difficult section of platforming where you've got all these spike pogos where if you miss them, Sylvie fortunately missing them in the correct way, where you do not hit the spikes. If you hit the spikes, then you often get taken a far way back down. And have to
doing this
strat, yeah.
Yes.
That's a strat that I am always too scared to go for. It's because if you hit those spikes, it's very demoralizing, definitely.
Yeah. It puts you all the way back to the second platform you have jumped on, and it might even be worse to fall off because if you put in inputs just in the wrong way, you can fall all the way back down to the start.
Yeah,
which is
very brutal. This little section.
Mm-hmm. But there are a lot of runners that are really, really good at it.
Yeah, and Sylvie making it look, you know, pretty well practiced there. You know, unless you spent a significant amount of time grinding it, you're always going to be at that sort of point of where do I certainly sometimes just get lost. Personally, it's a very difficult section to just remember where to go.
Mm-hmm. Ironically, Sylvie struggled at the easier parts of it and did very, very well at the harder parts.
Yeah. So benching at Dartmouth bench here. This is actually the fastest bench to do.
Talking to Tiso.
Tiso.
Don't think that was intended, but
well, I don't know. I'm not really sure of a position where you'd be putting in an up or down input there, but sure, I guess I'll accept the Tiso talk. Even if, as a randomizer racer, I am forever obligated to slash the shield away from Tiso's corpse. The best goal in randomizer. Oh.
Yep,
what was that?
If I could do math correctly, Sylvie is on PB pace by a pretty decent margin. So that is always good to see. Going to this fight, how long would you say this fight takes from here to finish?
Well,
2 minutes.
You know, from here, I think it's optimally, I think it's like 1 minute 30, but I'd expect, you know, 2 minutes is a pretty good estimate, I'd say.
So it might be very close. So
yeah, it could be.
Chat may have to pray a little bit for PB. Depends on the THK fight from Sylvie right here.
Right.
MrHug1 making short work of the hardest part of the Abyss climb.
Yeah. I think a little bit of a...
Seems to know the route pretty well, which is nice.
Yeah, a tiny bit scenic, but at least as long as you're not, you know, going either to the dead end on the right-hand side, which I know I do a lot just on autopilot. Mainly because there's a Georock there, so you can't bully me, because, you know, I'm a randomizer racer.
Those Georocks are incredibly important to know their locations.
Yeah.
Ooh, Sylvie missing a couple of Abyss Shrieks. The name of this fight is as many Abyss Shrieks as you can, because they do insane, insane damage. Okay. 1 HP, a little bit of a monk-ass moment. Oh!
That's the unfortunate part of this fight, is Shriek, while being the highest DPS you can get, you have to be incredibly close in order to get the advantages, and that can lead to a lot of unfortunate damage tanks.
In addition to being really close, you also have to be. It paralyzes you for what, like a full second, which is incredibly
definitely.
long. Granted, all of that second is damage, but you're also completely immobile. And if THK decides, hey, I want to give you some bad RNG, you just take damage. It's just
pretty much. You know, I think that's the biggest difference between D-Dark and Shriek is, you know, you sort of have the trade-off of D-Dark does 40 less damage, or 32 if I can do maths correctly. Wait, what? Yeah, 32
40.
if you... 40? I don't know, maths is hard.
Breaking out the calculator. I got a calculator right here.
Alright.
32,
120,
yes.
32, alright, I got it right. That's kind of the trade-off is safety for damage, but Sylvie here going to be doing... You can sort of stand on the left side. Yep.
Yeah,
stand on the left side and it's basically safe. And there we go.
Unfortunately, we're not going to see a PB out of Sylvie.
Yeah. Was that a scream skip from Sylvie?
Yeah, I didn't see a scream.
Yeah, I
Big
think
GG,
that was them.
It's looking like Sylvie has successfully taken the victory royale this time.
Yeah. Alright, and Hug here, just... Okay, let's see. This is actually very close, well, obviously now we have finished, but has been close. Unfortunately, we cannot switch over to MrHug1's audio, as we've been informed that it is not usable, but, but we will still be watching out the end of this fight.
Yeah, both of these runners, I don't think Hug is going to PB, but both runners very close to their PB paces, which is always good to see in a race setting.
Yeah. Alright. And the next stream, so...
Yep, so during the stabbing phase, you actually really can't do damage. You do 1 damage per hit, so a lot of speedrunners like to take the time and heal, which is always respectable.
Yeah. Oh, this is... okay. Scream? Okay.
Yeah, there's a self-stab right after the scream, too. Or a... Ooh! Deciding to directly go for the hit.
Yeah.
Pretty ballsy.
That scream, an unfortunate use of... Okay, phew. That's a last bit of manipulation to get that scream in. Very, very close. Alright. And that's a GG for Hug as well. We'll see what final time we end up with. And I believe you've marked them as finished, if I'm not mistaken.
I marked Sylvie as finished, yep.
Okay.
No mark. Hug is finished. Hopefully they'll get the notification to get in here for comm soon.
Alright.
Hug is done as well.
If not, I can... Okay, yeah, it looks like Sylvie's got it. And
yep. I think it actually sends a thing when we mark them as done.
Yeah. I just know that, you know, in my case especially, I physically cannot. The bot does not send me the invite link. Which is unfortunate.
So we have them both here. We're gonna ask them to get in here for commentary.
Hello.
Hello.
Hello, both of you.
Big GGs.
Very impressive performance from both of you, I think. In terms of, I think Sylvie was incredibly close to PB for much of that.
Yeah, definitely.
And also Hug, with some unfortunate early time loss with the Miss Shade skip as well. Doing very well to keep very close, all things considered, to Sylvie. And make it as close as possible near the end.
Yeah, I was happy to see I was able to fight back at least a little bit. At some point I was at +3, I think. But I ended at +50 seconds, so that's pretty good. Pretty
yeah, nice.
I honestly thought I had lost when I died at Isma's Tears.
Yeah, that was incredibly unfortunate. You know, that going to farm Soul especially, and then dying there is one of the worst feelings, and I definitely relate to that.
Yeah, definitely. MrHug, I think we were both impressed by your resourcefulness. I think throughout the race, knowing how to get that extra geo from places, and like knowing where to skip and where to go, and getting extra geo from a lot of different places was. We were impressed, at least.
That's just the first time that this had to happen, so I've had some practice with that too.
Yeah. I think the context is that MrHug unfortunately had to walk away from one of the Moss Knights due to being on 1 HP. and so missed out on that early 45 geo, or however much they drop.
Yep.
And so had to end up doing some slightly odd geo routing around the place to get back up for that 800 for dash slash.
Yeah.
But overall, really, really well done to both of you. This was no reset setting. I'm basically always impressed by the performance of people in this kind of setting, because when you're used to that kind of I'm behind, I'm a minute behind, I'll reset kind of situation. When you're forced to be in this situation where you're a minute, 2 minutes behind, and you are sort of in this situation where this mentality kind of it weighs down on you, and I'm sort of happy that it didn't seem to weigh down too heavily on either of you.
And Sylvie possibly making my day coming up here.
No.
Unbelievable.
Yes.
No.
So happy.
No.
I'm proud of you, Sylvie.
Thank you. I buy like it's revenge. You'll see. Yeah, and I was I get really, really tense when I run. And I even have to hide my lie split, and I hid the stream and everything, so I had no idea where MrHug was, where I was. But like, obviously, when you're playing well, when you're ahead. So I was a little shaky for the most of it.
Yeah, that's definitely a really strange feeling with these races. Is there's the stress of wanting to go fast, but there's also the added stress of, am I faster than my opponent? Can I slack off a tiny bit here?
Mm-hmm.
So I can certainly understand wanting
safety?
to avoid that. Yeah, can I take this safety? Do I have to, can I take this heal here? All those kinds of micro optimizations that we don't really think about too much in speedruns, just because, you die, you reset, you go again. But,
I did see you, Charlie. I was looking at specifically for you. Thank you.
Alright.
Alright, so if no one has anything else to say, any last remarks, runners? Anything you'd like to plug? Anything you'd like to talk about your race? Anything you were proud of? Anything you were disappointed in?
Thank you both for the excellent commentary. I was listening in. It was excellent. Thank you very much.
I'm sure you did great with that, too.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Gosh, I'm so disappointed. I said my Abyss climb was good, and then I fumbled it so hard.
For what it's worth, I think that Abyss climb was still faster than some of the ones I've done recently, so you're certainly not alone in that.
Other than that, it was a good run altogether, aside from the unfortunate mishaps. But yeah, GG's, MrHug. You played very well.
GG, yeah.
Yeah, I think we're both. I think comms and I think chat is excited to see more runs out of both of you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to be finishing up now.
And speaking of more runs, let's talk about this day is a very tightly packed day for the Your Skills tournament. I think we had so far 4 races today. So we do have a couple more. So if you want to see more of this, there is a race at 8 PM Eastern Standard Time between Wasabi Knight and Thunder 001. That's going to be over on the Speed Gaming 3 channel. And further to that, another match between Lucario and Insomnia at 9 PM EST on Speed Gaming 4 as well.
And
so definitely
that one's on the Superior patch.
Yes, of course. The current patch.
I will be calming the Insomnia with Lucario one.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah. All right. So without any further, thank you everybody for watching. I hope you had a wonderful time with this race, as I know I did. And yeah, thank you everyone. Have a wonderful rest of your days.
Thank you.